Coffee, no worky. I love this mug. I got it from my friends in England. What's going on, Reefing Fam? March here, Fragbox TV. Okay, it's time for a new video. We got one video on the go coming out, and we have an iPad, and we're gonna hit feed mode. How are we gonna hit feed mode? Actually, I want to turn off the flow to one of our tanks. When I hit feed mode, it doesn't. That's me swearing. It doesn't work. I want it to go down to 1%. I do love AI products. Let me just get a little bit of a rant out of the way. Let me say hello and welcome to the channel if you're new. This is a store in Toronto that specializes in saltwater aquariums. And I'm not sponsored by these guys, but I should be because I give you so much free love and attention. I really, really like the orbits. I'm going to press off because my feed mode doesn't work. But that being said, I still do love them. Okay, why are we pressing feed mode? Because I got in some new corals from Australia, and the best way to show you the corals is top down. This is the best angle, like this. But we got to turn off the flow so that I can show you some of the goodies. Where do we start? How strong do we want to allow the ADHD to be in effect in today's video? Why don't we start at number 1 for once in my life, and then work our way through in chronological order. Should have done that from day one. Elegance, a coral name that really is represented by the way the coral looks. You know, some coral names don't really make sense. Elegance coral, it makes sense. It is super elegant. It's super elegance, and I love them. And I love all the corals, but these ones have a special place in my heart. For a long time, I thought they were hard to keep, and I killed a bunch of these. But I realized they're not really hard to keep. I was just an idiot reefer, and everything I tried to keep, I killed. I did so many dumb things to get to this point, where I am now with a successful, not only business, but like thousands of gallons of saltwater running. And if I tell you some of the stupidity, I was 14 or 15 trying to keep one of these things alive. I'm embarrassed thinking back of what I thought a water change was. I think I'll save that for a future video if any of you guys want to hear about my nonsense. 24 karat gold hammer. Now the camera picks this up as green. I can assure you it is not green. Green is like this, but greens, yellows, blues, purples, reds, and pinks, they all get kind of thrown around with the camera and they look the same. Some pieces you really have to see in person to appreciate. We have some really funky torches. Yeah, you know what? This is a good example of yellow and green. This in person, number 19, really yellow. This one really green. If you hear me sniffling, I'm a little bit under the weather, but you know what? It's not going to keep me from doing a coral update video. And if you see anything in the video that you simply must have, like number 9, Joker torch, white tip, purple tentacles, electric green mouth, it must be in your aquarium, and it's not yet on the site. You can always send us a screenshot, and I'd be happy to see if it's available, give you a price. Blue hammers. Now, we don't get these very often at all. It's just a weird color to find on, are they Lobophyllia, Fimbrophilia? Were they reclassified? I'm just going to call them hammer coral for all intensive purposes. Blue though, blue and kind of like these tealy colors that we got in, sort of like this one here. Really, really unusual. I have a whole colony. I'm letting go of branching Cyphastria. Now, it's kind of an awkward, funky shape, but if you don't mind giving it some time to grow out, it doesn't grow as fast as the regular Cyphastria. Some of the encrusting ones are just borderline invasive. This one, I wish, is definitely not the case. Let me show you a couple other cool hammer corals, and then I'll move on to some other types. This is what I mean by funky and blue and unusual. Actually, both of them side by side. Now, these are wall varieties, so Lobophyllia ancora, not Lobophyllia. What's branching? Para ancora? Divisa? Man, I'm getting old. Branching hammer coral. Para ancora. Okay. We got Mike in the house with the Latin names. I think Latin names are important, and I think I should probably know the Latin name of cabbage coral, but it is not coming to me right now. Regardless, it's a cool piece. Lobos, Lobophyllia. So many of these, so much reclassification that I can't even keep my head on straight. Apparently, this is what the scientists say. We do some molecular testing. Scolymiyas, right over here. That's a good example. Look, one next to another. The same as Lobophyllias. I don't know what to make of it. You tell me. Let me put them both together and see if they don't sting the living shiitake mushrooms out of each other. But I really love these corals. They're just such a pain in the butt. My big old butt to ship. It's like they were just designed to pop bags. And I tell people all the time, pick up only, you can't ship it. And then I get a little bit of pushback like, hey March, you know, they shipped it to you. How come you can't ship it to me? Yes, that is true. You are 100% right, Fred, or John, or Jim, or whatever your name is. Scott, I could do this all day. You're right. They shipped it to us. It came here in a bag on a plane. But, that being said, when they ship it to us, it comes in a really big styrofoam box, and it comes on a pallet. It literally comes on a skid with 8 other boxes, and it's only handled by forklift. It doesn't get thrown around by the FedEx driver or Purelator or UPS. I think that these things just get picked up and then tossed. What do I mean I think? I've seen it happen. Actually, we had a driver, okay, I feel like swearing right now, but I'm not. I'm gonna be a good boy. I'm not gonna put any money in the swear jar. And I'm not complaining also, because you guys know I don't complain on the channel or you get a free frag. I'm just going to tell you exactly what happened. The guy's been picking up from this store for 3 years. He knows that he's handling live, sensitive corals. He's well versed in the business because he comes here every day, Monday through Friday, and picks up a box. He takes them and he's throwing them from the door into the back of his truck. I'll show you exactly how that looked like this. Literally taking and whoop, tossing them in the back of his truck. Hey, what's up, man? So he knows that they're live coral and he's throwing them. Imagine the other 100 guys at the warehouse that it's just a brown box. They're gonna throw it too. The guy knows it's coral and he's throwing it. Why are you yelling, March? Anyways, that's my point. That's why I can't ship you Lobos. I hope I made it clear, because it's gonna pop the bag. 110%, it's gonna pop the bag. And the same thing goes for these ones, Symphilias over here. Man, that was a lot. I had to get the energy out. I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand. I'm not doing it because any other reason than the coral health, which I always put first and foremost. Customers, I'm sorry, you guys come second. First, for me, is always going to be the health of the coral, because I have to advocate for them. They can't advocate for themselves. They're living animals, and I'm emotionally invested and attached to each and every single one, and I want to make sure they get there healthy and happy. I want to make sure you're happy when you open the box and your Acanthophilia looks like this, or even like this. You know, it leaves here like this. We just have to make sure it shows up on the other end still looking like that. Now from Australia, we only get, this variety of Favia, Dragon Soul Favia, only comes from Australia, and it's so cool. It's almost like tricolor, yellowy green mouth, and then it goes sort of bluey, and then purple, and then actually, as it grows out again, right there, I'll try and keep the camera steady, it goes back to that cool kind of yellow luminescent growth. Got a couple nice colonies of, let's say they're Neptia. That's what I want to call them. Maybe we should actually call them Simularia. Maybe it doesn't matter, because it's a big, healthy, green soft coral that should be basically bulletproof for just about all hobbyists out there. Even if you're struggling, you know, maybe don't try a colony of Alveopora or Gonipora, but you should be okay with just about all softies. Now we get a ton of emails. I try to answer as many as I can. People struggling with their reef tanks, but I have to tell you right now, if you're going to email us, keep in mind I'm not Google, I'm not ChatGPT, and we deal with hundreds of emails a day. Try and keep it concise. So we got one the other day that was about hair algae, and it was just super long. Like, you sent me an essay, oh my god, I want to answer you, but I literally cannot read those many words without my brain hurting. This is a really nice open green coral. And then when I responded, I gave you the spark notes and I asked you the values of your water, and you said, I don't know, but everything is fine. What do you mean everything is fine, but you don't know the values? Oh, that drives me nuts, because I'm here. I want to help you beat that hair algae. But step one is really going to be start with some test kits. Figure out what your nitrates and phosphates are. Don't tell me that everything, oh, my parameters are great, and then I ask you nitrates and you go, I don't know my nitrates. Come on. What are we? This is kindergarten? Figure out your nitrates, then come talk to me. Frog spawn. I'm really on one today, jeez. This is what happens when I chug an espresso before doing a video. Very, very nice froggies. A little bit larger, so these are not going to get fragged down into little itty bitty ones like, you know, 52, 43. They're going to stay like that big. Can you cut them? Yes, you can cut and frag ancoras and wall varieties of hammers and frog spawn, but really to do it properly, you need a bandsaw. You need a Griffin bandsaw, not an inland, I'm going to say that. You need a Griffin, and you can cut them quite easily. Doing it by hand, I would really not recommend it. Now, this didn't come from Australia. This we grew in the basement from a couple polyps, but it's just so big, I'm going to let someone else enjoy it. A huge colony of purple death Paleothoas. Now, I have to go, I'm going to break my rule of going through number by number. I really want to show you the Acans before I go off on another tangent and then lose half of the viewers. Really nice Acanthostrea, Lordowensis, maybe you call them Micromusa now, whatever. We're just going to call them Acans, okay? And they're stunning. They're beautiful. Now, most of these are going to get fragged up just because that's sort of what our market here in Canada demands of us. These to sell as colonies, they're about 200 to maybe 250 Canadian dollars. So you're talking around 140, maybe 180 US dollars. But over here, frags really is what dominates, at least in our store, our customers. And I think that is because people would rather, you know, 8 or 10 frags of different varieties. You get some purple and green, some teal and purple, some blue and red, some blue and pink, or whatever, and you make a really cool looking garden of different varieties, and you end up with like a really beautiful effect because none of these are going to hurt each other. Very common to clump them together. You might even throw in a couple rainbow frags like this. Rainbow-ish, I'll say ish, because I really try to avoid the word rainbow as much as I can. I don't like the words rainbow, I don't like the word ultra, and I don't like the word master because I think they are completely useless. They're just marketing techniques, and once in a while I'll let my business side of me take control and say, you know what, for the customer, we'll just do it. We'll just call number 144. You want to call it a Master Scoldy? That's it. That's the one. But just so many other retailers, I'm not going to name any in particular, they just use the word ultra in front of everything. Ultra red Ganipora, ultra rainbow flower pot, ultra blah 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 blah, and it's just become, to me, it's meaningless. So it's got to really be special. If I'm going to use any of those words on the site, it's got to be really a special piece. Otherwise, what's the point, right? You're just kind of diluting the value of our words, and I think words and descriptions are important, especially if you're buying stuff online. And for us, that's about half of our sales are coming through our website, and it's not walk-ins. I think today we had 2. Uno, dos. Jedan, dva. That's it. Online, we shipped about 14 orders. So descriptions, really, really important. I also try my best not to use color because everyone sees different color. For example, blue, purple, I don't know, a little bit of both, but I would hate for, you know, to call this blue, you receive it and you're not happy that it's, you know, your eyes perceive it differently than I do, or, you know, even stuff like this. This is like a beautiful coral, bubble coral. I would say light blue, but I'm never going to use that description online. I'm just going to use the Latin name, the blah, 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 Sanosa. What's wrong with me today? Man, I'm really starting to get sick, but bubble coral, that's it. If you like it, forget the color. We'll just try and, you know, take the most accurate photo that we can. I think more importantly for hobbyists is the size. So something like this, I'm going to write extra large show size Elegance so that if you have a 12-gallon, you know, Reef Casa Studio, you don't want a coral that's going to take up half your tank. If we have small ones, I'll call them tiny. I'll even call stuff pico. You know, if something's half an inch, but it's something like this, like an open brain coral. If you have a 150-gallon and you bought this, I don't think you'd be very happy. It's like miniature, but if you've got a miniature tank, it's so hard to find open brain corals in that size. So for me, more important than the description of the color is really the description of the size, so that you know what you're getting into, and it's not going to be a commitment that your aquarium isn't going to be able to handle. These came from a previous order, but I got to show them a little bit of love because I think we've only sold 2, and they're one of the nicest discosomas that we have right now in the entire store. Now this order was really heavy on the LPS and softies. We got virtually absolutely 0.00% acro on any of this order. And I was hoping to get a few because we get some really cool species like the strawberry shortcake, as well as the Acan, the ice fire enchilada. That only comes out of Australia. But next week we're gonna have 125 colonies of acro arriving. I gotta make some room in this tank, and it's gonna be all acropora because we're going into what we call our busy season. Winter for us, it's super seasonal, this hobby, and I want to have a good amount of coral on hand leading up to the holiday season. Okay, I think we looked at pretty much everything here. I kind of glanced over some of the larger Gonies or Alveoporas that are really nice. Stuff like this probably gonna get fragged. Just waiting for our frag man to come back into the shop one of these days. Again, anything in the video you want to see more of, you can even request, further photos of pieces. I try my best to accommodate different angles. Sometimes people want to see the base of the coral. Let's say you're interested in number 53. This is only part of the picture or part of the story. Really, sometimes you want to see here, what's going on? How's the band of flesh? Do you have any little babies? Can we see any flatworms? Is it splitting? Is it one head? Or is it two? How's the separation on the skeleton? Do I have a chance to frag it? How tall is the skeleton? Is it close to the bottom? Things like that, So I'm happy to accommodate because that's the kind of stuff that I think sort of separates us when there's other people online. Okay, that feels like a pretty good little wrap-up. I think we'll get back to working whatever's left on the list for today. Feed the fishies. Actually, speaking about feeding fishies, if you're in the US and watching this and you have a store, Vitalis, you can now get it. The stuff that I've been selling here in the shop for the longest time. Just shoot me an email and I'll put you in touch with the guys. It's the only fish food. See the wall? See any other fish foods? No? That's it. It's the only one. Okay, guys, I will wrap this one up and hope to see you on the next episode of Fragbox TV. Bye for now.